only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. Yes, I own silver. But if you don't know what silver is or how to buy it, please don't go buy. When there's inflation and when the value of money goes down, something goes up in value. So if you own the things that go up, chances are you're going to be okay, and you might even make a lot of money. But we always have recurring financial crises. I mean, when I say I see one coming, if you don't see one coming, there's something seriously wrong. I will point out that the Secretary of the Treasury in Washington says, no, we're not going to have any more financial problems. We've solved all the problems. We figured it out. Well, she's got degrees from Ivy League schools, so if you believe her, then we're not going to have any more financial problems. I happen to know I've read enough history and been around long enough to know that the world always, not every day, but periodically, every few years or so, has financial problems, and sometimes they're really big financial problems. We are going to have more of those unless the Secretary of the Treasury is right with her Ivy League degrees. So I'm not suggesting anything that's unusual. It's a little bit like saying, well, we're going to have a tornado next year. Well, we always have tornadoes, hurricanes, etc. Yes, we're going to have more problems. And usually in periods like that, gold and silver are useful, and they help protect you. And sometimes you can even make money owning precious metals during times like that. That's my view. I own silver. I own gold. And when, I'm not buying more now, but if this correction continues or gets worse, I hope I'm smart enough to buy more gold and silver. Yes, they've been fluctuating recently, but that's the story of any asset. No, I don't know any asset that doesn't have dramatic fluctuations at times. Gold and silver have certainly been in the process of correcting for the last few months, but that's not unusual. That's the way markets work. I don't know if I answered your question. Maybe I went too long. Oh, come on. You know you should talk to Liberty and Finance to find out the prices. I'm just a simple investor. I don't know. I usually try to let the market tell me. I mean, if I see some panic selling, that's usually a good opportunity to buy something. But I mean, if America goes to war, I might be panic buying. I might be right in there with them if we go to war, because, those guys in Washington love war, and it's not good. It's not good for us, and it's not good for the world, but they love it. They have been printing staggering amounts of money in Washington, but not just in Washington, all over the world. Most central banks copied the U.S., and this has never happened to this extent in recorded history. Interest rates are lower than they have ever been in the history of the world. So, yes, that's always led to inflation in the past. Now, Janet Yellen says, no, don't worry, we have it under control. Well, I don't believe her because I've read enough history. And as long as they're printing money, we're going to have inflation. It's a very simple fact that's always happened. I wish we could repeal some of those laws, but nobody's been able to repeal the laws of supply and demand yet, not even Washington. I don't like saying it, but they have complete power. They always have, and they love to exercise that power. They don't care much about us. They care about their jobs and their power. And if they feel the need to, they will say, now, listen, you're all good American citizens, yes, but we're doing this for your own good. We're doing this for the good of the country and the good of the world. Yes, it's terrible theft that we're taking your money away from you, but it's for your own good. Don't worry. We're helping you, and we're helping the world. Elijah, they don't care about you and me. If you think, I'm sure you took a good high school civics class, but a lot of the stuff we were taught at those high school civics classes aren't true. Well, the first thing that I will say to you and anyone else is, only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. Don't listen to some guy on the internet or the TV, or that maybe Elijah, but don't listen to anybody else on the internet or the TV. Only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. Yes, I own silver, but if you don't know what silver is or how to buy it, please don't go buying any silver. When there's inflation and when the value of money goes down, something goes up in value. So if you own the things that go up, chances are you're going to be okay, and you might even make a lot of money. real assets. I mean, agriculture has had problems. It's turning around now. That might be a way to protect yourself. I certainly own agriculture, gold, silver, precious metals, but all hard assets, copper. I mean, copper's going through the roof now because it looks like we're going to have electric cars. Well, electric cars use a lot more copper than gasoline cars. If you find the things that are going to go up in value, those are the thing of oil, perhaps, natural gas, perhaps, commodities. If you own real things that will go up in value when inflation goes up and the value of money goes down, you usually come out ahead. I don't know why other people do other things with their money. I make plenty of mistakes, so who knows? Agriculture has been a nightmare. The average age of farmers in America is 58. The average age in Japan is 66. In Canada, it's 58. It's the oldest in recorded history. Australia, it's 58. The highest rate of suicide in the UK is in agriculture. Millions of Indian farmers commit suicide every year. I mean, agriculture has been a disaster. More people in the US study public relations than study agriculture. You know, Elijah, you want to get rich. There are not many farmers left, and they're going to be fewer and fewer and fewer. So go and learn how to drive it. Do you know how to drive a tractor? Probably not. You look like a city boy, a money boy. Well, learn how to drive a tractor. There's not much competition, and things just get worse and worse and worse. Well, some of those guys are not complete idiots. Most of them are, but they know they're all printing a lot of money. They can look at all their friends who at other central banks are printing a lot of money. They got to do something with it if they want to protect themselves. And as I said, gold and silver historically have been ways to protect yourself when there's a lot of money printing. I don't know what they know. As I said, most of them are not very smart. I can cite chapter and verse. I will tell you it's the story since we got off on it. Early in 2008, or maybe it was 2007, the head economist at the Federal Reserve in Washington wrote an article saying, you know, we have 1,000 of the smartest PhD economists in the world on our staff here at the Federal Reserve. Who are these people that say there's going to be problems in real estate? Who are these people that's going to be an economic collapse? We have the smartest people in the world, and we know they're wrong. I mean, you know the rest of that story. That was the chief economist at the Federal Reserve in Washington talking about how they were smarter than everybody else, and don't worry about it. There's not going to be an economic collapse, and it's certainly not in real estate. We've got things under control. So, I mean, Elijah, I've been around a long time. These guys are not very smart. That's why they work for the government. They get government jobs because they can't get real jobs. And they think they know what they're doing, but some of them do know. Some of them do know that gold and silver have stood the test of time. I mean, it's not as though I sit here and love gold and silver, but I'm an old peasant, and all of us old peasants know that when things go wrong, we better have some silver in the closet. We better have some gold under the bed. So I got some gold over there under the bed. And they do too. Some of them are, I mean, the Russians are buying huge amounts of gold because they know what's coming. They can see. We've always had currency crises every few years. It depends on the country, different countries. So when you said there's going to be a currency crisis, of course there is. That's like saying there's going to be a hurricane in 2023. We know there is. And I know there are going to be more currency crises in the world. I don't know when or which countries. I can give you suggestions, but who cares? We will have more currency crises. And all of us peasants know that during a currency crisis, historically, you better own some gold and silver or some wheat. People desperately will want. And those are the things that they've always wanted.